Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for your second video of the day. It took me a while to address the news of TODD BOEHLY taking over. I did that earlier, so if you want to go and hear my thoughts on everything regarding that, go and check out the previous video. I'll leave a link in the description. In this video, I want to talk about Romelu Lukaku. There are talks, reports that he might be on the way back to Inter Milan. It's probably going to be in the case of a loan deal, if this is going to happen. Does this really benefit Chelsea, having only spent £100 million just 1 year ago? Or is there an alternative arrangement that could be made here regarding a swap deal for a Bastoni, a centre-back? We need one of those. Lautoro Martinez, another quality attacker who may be looking to leave Inter Milan this summer. First things first, Romelu Lukaku. To me, when we're hearing in the early stages of the summer that there are attempts at least to try and negotiate a way back to Inter Milan, as a Chelsea fan who has gone through the washing machine, I guess you could say, not just a washing machine, but like it's been an emotional roller coaster following Lukaku this season in the way that when he first came in, there was a buzz. We thought that we had spent 100 million on a striker in the prime years of his career who had absolutely evolved into a goal-scoring machine at Inter Milan. We spend the money. He comes in, first couple of games, absolutely brilliant. Then it starts to taper off a little bit, and then we get the news of the interview. The interview which basically allowed Lukaku to allude to the fact that moving back to Chelsea, moving back to London, was actually nothing like the dream move that he explained it as when he first joined the club. There was the whole narrative about he started his career there. It didn't work out. You had the Super Cup where he misses a penalty, and then from that moment, it was gone. And since then, we've seen him at Everton, West Brom, Manchester United, and then Inter Milan. So, to come back to Chelsea for Lukaku, you would look at this and think, well, he wanted to play for Chelsea when he was younger. Now he's matured. Now he's grown into his ability, his footballing ability, and you would like to think that there would be a mental stability that would come with all of those things. But unfortunately, in Romelu Lukaku's case, a few months and a few ill feelings here and there, and he decides to go and do an interview to go back to Inter Milan. Now the season is done. We went through the washing machine. This is the part where we get to now, where we see the interview. Chelsea fans are hurt. Thomas Tuchel is probably very hurt about this because he doesn't want players giving interviews like this, disrupting a camp that has been very, very well managed. There was a brilliant energy around Chelsea Football Club. After Thomas Tuchel came in, we win the Champions League, beginning of this season, there wasn't really much for us to complain about then. There were injuries that happened, but this interview from Romelu Lukaku is such a key turning point in Chelsea's season. Whether we can hypothesize all of the reasons why Lukaku had 8 touches of the ball in the game against Crystal Palace. We can hypothesize till forever about why it looked as though players were just not finding Romelu Lukaku on the field. The issue is, when Lukaku did that interview and knew that it was rubbing people up the wrong way, he had a duty then to perform on the field, to make sure that he would do everything in his power to make better something that he had inevitably done wrong. There isn't any rationalization that we can give other than for Lukaku's own selfish benefit that he wanted to just make it very aware as early as possible that at the next best opportunity, he wants to go back to Italy. Moving to Chelsea was a mistake. But the issue with this is that as the season went on, there were only glimpses of the Romelu Lukaku that Chelsea went and splashed a hell of a lot of money on. And now, in the early stages of this summer, it is being reported that Lukaku's agent is trying to work on a way to get him back to Inter Milan. Let's think about this one logically from a financial standpoint. Chelsea paid pretty much 100 million for Lukaku. Inter Milan was selling Lukaku not because the money was massive, but because they desperately needed money. Yes, we could potentially cut our losses and get 50 million, but as a business idea, this really doesn't benefit Chelsea in any way, shape or form. We could get 50 million for him, just wave goodbye and pretend it never happened. But in the process of doing that, Chelsea would then need to go out and spend big again, most likely, on another striker. There are links to Christopher Nkunku, but like I've said many times here on the channel, that does remind me quite frequently of Timo Werner. We bought Timo Werner thinking that he was going to score 25, 30 goals a season the same way that he did at Red Bull Leipzig. And it did not happen that way, which is why we went and bought Romelu Lukaku. Now, the only way I can see this working in Chelsea's favour is if negotiations between Inter Milan, Lukaku wanting to go, and Chelsea Football Club result in Chelsea receiving a player who, realistically, despite the £200 million war chest that we've been given this summer in Todd Boehly's first summer as Chelsea boss, we really need to try and negotiate this so that when we lose the player for an inevitable financial deficit, something has got to come the other way. Now, the way I see this working is that there could be a Juan Cuadrado style loan deal where Chelsea send Romelu Lukaku to Inter Milan for a season or potentially 2 seasons, with then, at the end of that, an obligation to buy. On the same token, there is reports that Chelsea are alerted by Lautoro Martinez. Now, when we look at Martinez and we compare him to Romelu Lukaku, the reason why Lukaku was so successful at Inter Milan, in my opinion, is very heavily due to the impact and the impetus that Martinez had alongside Romelu Lukaku. What it did is when Inter Milan were attacking, Romelu Lukaku was able to occupy the spaces, even down the wings as well, because between the two of them, they were a focal point of that Inter Milan team, whereas at Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku has been used as a striker where he's been isolated at times in the middle of the box where Hakim Ziyech is crossing the ball in, Werner, Pulisic, whoever it may be is trying to reach him, but because the Premier League is so physical, because defenders are so aware of the presence of Lukaku, they would absolutely isolate him out of the game. The issue behind this is Lukaku knew that this is the way defenders were treating him every single game. Did he do anything to adjust? Absolutely not. This is the reason why I'm nervous about this Lukaku thing, but at the same time, I'm willing to wash my hands with this deal and just think, well, if that's the case, I've actually got some shower gel here. I could have made that one better, but then I went and just told the joke in a different way. But I think there is a way here that Chelsea can negotiate with Inter Milan. If we can get Lautaro Martinez the other way, I really, really think he's a quality player. He has got that kind of tenacity that we were looking for to replace Diego Costa. We thought that the attitude and the sheer size and goal-scoring prowess of Lukaku would have been enough to not really have to dig in and get the kind of grit that Diego Costa provided in a Chelsea shirt. It didn't work out that way. Why? Because he does not want to be here. So, Chelsea fans, let me know in the comments down below. With Romelu Lukaku supposedly pushing for a move away from Chelsea, I'm pretty sure Thomas Tuchel would be open to Romelu Lukaku leaving Chelsea as long as we do have available funds and an avenue to actually replace him. Armando Broja's coming back. I don't just want to shove that one to the side because I really think Armando Broja is going to be a big player for Chelsea. I think we're going to have to try and figure out a different way to utilise Kai Havertz next season because I think Broja won't be Chelsea's number 1 striker, but I certainly feel like Tuchel will be really strongly advised to use him, considering if he stays at Chelsea next season and doesn't get game time, the likelihood is Chelsea are going to have to get rid of him again. And I could easily see a scenario where we do something similar to that of what we did to Tammy Abraham. Broja goes away. Chelsea, yeah, we have a buyback clause, but Broja just simply shows how good of a striker he is. And then in a few years' time, Chelsea are thinking to bring him back again, but still at a fee that is bigger than what we ever spent in the first place or got from him in the first place. Exactly the same as Tammy Abraham. So for Chelsea here, we want to try and eliminate risk. There are not many strikers available. There is Lewandowski, but as much as I said a few weeks ago I thought that's going to happen, I strongly believe he'll end up at Barcelona after all the developments with that in recent days. But let me know in the comments down below, do you think a swap deal that would see either Martinez come in or potentially a Bastoni, a top quality centre-back where we can offload Lukaku, whether that is for a financial loss deficit or simply a loan that we try and navigate to basically just eliminate the situation. If Lukaku stays and he doesn't want to stay, and Thomas Tuchel still doesn't think that he really is the perfect fit for our team, then this is going to drag on for another season. And that 100 million that we currently look like we've potentially wasted now, if his agent's pushing for a move back to Milan, it's going to get even worse. And like I keep stressing, this summer is key. Every single little thing that is wrong at Chelsea Football Club needs to be addressed before every City and Liverpool drift further away. You've also got Conte at Tottenham Hotspur, who, I'm sorry, but they're going to be up there again next season. They've just got Perisic on a free. All of the signings they're making are Antonio Conte signings. He gets them top four. He's a brilliant manager. We know that. He won us the league and an FA Cup. So, Romelu Lukaku to Inter Milan. I really think it's going to happen. I think he's going to go, but we just got to make sure that whatever the deal is, we are at least solving one of our many issues in this transaction. If it's half of what we spent on him, we've got to look at this as a big, big financial loss for Chelsea, and yet we've still got to be very careful with the players we bring in on top. Or maybe there is a deal for a Bastoni or even a Martinez. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to GBFC if you are new, turn on bell notifications. Daily videos are back here again. Come on, you Blues.